Hello, New Wave of British Heavy Metal.com here. Today it's the 20th of November 2023. Quick favour to ask as usual, please, and that's if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel. That'd be big help and appreciated. So please click the button if you would. Today we're going all the way back to the late 1970s, good old NWOBHM days, of course. And it's a bit of a double header, even though it's the same band. Sounds a bit of a contradiction, that, doesn't it? But this is titled, Wildfire, the band Wildfire, but their history goes a little bit further back to that, when they originally formed in the late 70s, and they were called the Next Band. But and as they progressed, they became Wildfire. But now that'll become hopefully a little bit clearer in a few minutes. But they do have quite a new wave of British heavy metal pedigree overall, because the Next Band were formed by Rocky Newton, John Lockton and Frank Noon back around, I think it was about 1975, when I think they were still at school, even they were that young. After a short while they moved up to Sheffield and hooked up with an equally young Def Leppard. For example, there's a bit of a crossover, because Frank Noon, of course, played drums as a guest on that legendary initial EP that Def Leppard did back in those days as well. As for the Next Band, after they did move up to Sheffield, they put out a self-financed 4-track EP of their own. Then they decided that they needed to move to London, where NWOBHM was everywhere, wasn't it? If they were going to make it, and they expanded the lineup. For example, Alan Nelson came in on keyboards, and they changed the name to Wildfire. As for Wildfire, they produced a few demos that some of the tracks appeared on. If you remember way back then, the Metal for Mothers compilation albums that came out back then, and it did start to look quite promising for Wildfire. But that was until John Lockton went off to join Wild Horses, if you remember them. And that was kind of the beginning of the end for Wildfire. And they didn't last much longer. But as for that new wave of British heavy metal pedigree, we've already mentioned Lockton went off to Wild Horses. After Wildfire, Rocky Newton and Frank Noon went to join Lionheart with, of course, ex-Iron Maiden guitarist Dennis Stratton and ex-Tigers of Pantang vocalist Jess Cox. Noon would also go on to have a stint with Wild Horses and others. Newton, of course, Rocky Newton, most notably played with Michael Schenker's band. Alan Nelson had a spell with Wild Horses and also Stratus, if you remember that one. And Mama's Boys as well, I think. Oh, and on Mama's Boys, they've got a box set coming out soon. I've got that on order, so we'll cover that when it arrives. So that's your NWOBHM pedigree, so to speak. And just a few days ago, those good people at Obscure NWOBHM Releases pulled this one out the fire again, unearthing yet another, in inverted commas, lost band from the NWOBHM days, and gave them their usual treatment of a limited edition run of 500 CDs. They keep doing this, and long may they keep doing it as well. And on it, we've got that 4-track EP by the Next Band, and then 10 of Wildfire's demos. And that, of course, good news for us old NWOBHM fans still stuck in the past. But if you like just honest to goodness rock music, this will be for you as well. Musically, it is a bit of a contrast. The Next Band tracks, what you might call straightforward, hardish rockers, bit of a bluesy element to it. Quite a lot of bites, some melodic elements as well. Lots of raw talent and promise, given how young they were at the time. It's short, to the point, there's no messing about, very enjoyable as well. And perhaps of the 4, Close Encounters is perhaps the pick of the bunch. Nice and catchy and punchy, and no prizes for guessing what the song's about, given the title of it. With the change to Wildfire and the arrival of Alan Nelson on keys, that gave the band much more of an expansive sound and style, with Nelson's keyboards giving it that extra edge. The songwriting matures as well and has got a lot more depth to it. The style is generally heavier, though it does keep those melodic elements. And I say Nelson's keyboards bursts are quite dazzling in parts, particularly when they trade in with the guitars as well. Some examples, Peace of Mind, nice and heavy, as is Wild Dog and Devil of Mine. Chock full of punchy riffs, solos which don't overstay the welcome. So the keyboard bursts and swells are excellent, and of course with Rocky Newton and Frank Newton, you've got a rock solid rhythm section. No Message, No Number, infectious hook and melody. Rocking for You is the big heaviest number there, monstrous number, heavy as you like, and Lamps of the Slaughterers as well. All good stuff. And say as usual, Obscure NWOBHM releases have done us proud yet again. How they keep finding bands like this from the old NWOBHM days and giving them the treatment, who bands may otherwise have been and remain largely forgotten is testament to how good the label is. Snap one up if you can. So there's just a 500 CD run and then that's it. As usual, I bagged mine directly from the label. As I record this, 20th of November 2023, the label's website is still showing some available, as is one of my other go-to places for stuff like this at Sonic Age Records. I'll put links to both Obscure NWOBHM releases and Sonic Age Records in the description below, so you can click through and see if they do have any left. So they still do at the moment, 20th of November 2023. But it is good stuff, more than worthy of checking out. And quickly before I disappear, talking about Sonic Age Records, in a few days later on this month, there's more like lost, if you like, new wave of British heavy metal coming out, courtesy of them. Satanic Rites, if you remember them, Sonic Age are putting out their 2 albums on CD from way back when. So we've got those to look forward to, and when they do drop through the door, when the postie pushes them through the letterbox, we'll cover those as well, but that's in a few days. In the meantime, do check out Next Band and Wildfire. Good stuff. Please subscribe to the channel before you go. That would be marvellous. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and take care.